What's going on? You see me?
I can see you just fine. It's been a while, my man.
Man, long time no see. How you been?
I'm good. Just trying to stay busy just like you.
Man, I'm trying to get like you, man. You set the standard.
Did
The
you get a
darn
haircut?
standard. Yeah, I did.
I was going to say, it looks a little shorter than your videos.
Yeah. I let it grow out every now and again, but then once it gets a little too much, I kind of chop it down and I let it grow back out.
Nice. I gotta
I'm,
get my
I'm so
shirts. I gotta get my
inconsistent.
shirts soon. I'm making
Oh,
hats. I'm making my hats
yeah.
and a flag, and then I'll get some shirts made.
That's what I got. I got to get shirts. I got to get like little hip pocket notebooks,
Yeah.
mugs, and I'm gonna get some coins made
Oh,
and
nice.
things like that. So yeah, I'm trying to do a whole little pack and
Let me
stuff
know
like
who you
that.
go through for your coins, because I've had people ask for a coin as well, and I haven't. I just haven't made one, and I know there's different sites, but let me know who you go through. So.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, I'm on Fort Jackson, so it's a location like right down
Oh,
the
okay.
road from us that makes it. So I go down in and check with them as well. Cause I'm PCSing soon, so I need to go ahead and knock out everything that I can before I
Gotcha.
can. So yeah.
It's got the library behind you too. Got Man Up in there. That's a good one.
Oh man, and I know I gotta have it more military oriented, but this is the first time I gotta get it right. But yeah, man, I got Man Up, Think and Grow Rich. I would teach you how to be rich, managing yourself.
Nice.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography,
Yeah, that's a good
Rick
one. Is
Ross
that is
book,
that Total
yeah.
Recall or the other one?
Yeah, Total
Yeah.
Recall.
Yep.
That's Total Recall, yep.
Nice.
And Signs of Success, a bunch of comic books, Kobe Bryant
Yeah.
book. Then I got stuff down here. So yeah, one day I'm gonna organize it hopefully soon, but I'm gonna plan a whole little podcast setup and just get it right from there. Yeah.
Nice.
So let me see. Do I even press record? Oh, we already record. So got a little talking points. This is what you do. So this is nothing new to you. So I'm not telling you anything new. Can you hear me right?
I can hear you just fine. How about me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and get it started. What's going on, everybody, man? It's Camo Talk with the first episode of the Camo Talk podcast, and this is a special one. This is a very special one, man. I have my guy Manny in here with me today, man. This is the guy who first reached out to me when I started building Camo Talk. He gave me a platform to speak. He reached out to me and let me know that my videos and my content and my topics were headed in the right direction. And when I sat down for his podcast, man, we talked about so many great things, and it's just humbling to have this full circle moment with my first podcast episode being with him. So for all the people who don't know you, Manny, man, introduce yourself.
Oh man, I always think about that when people ask, I introduce myself because there's different roads I can go on, right? Like
Mm,
the biggest one is obviously I've been in the military for going on 18 years. I was enlisted for 4, then I went reserves, went to college, did ROTC, commission, and now I've been a B1 Wizzo for 10 years. So there's that side, but there's also the side that you and other people see more now is that leadership, fitness, dad life. So there's that like introduction as well, like about 4 years ago, I was living, I say, an average life, as an aviator, as an officer. I wasn't excelling. I was just that gray man, I was just doing what I was supposed to do because I thought that was normal.
mm.
Then I just changed my life, started honing in my habits, lost a bunch of weight, started focusing on leading by example, which is what I preach a lot of. Really opened up to social media to share my journey and my story. So there's like that side of me as well. And so those are like the two sides I try to preach on the most. But there's also just like the human side, like I love just being a normal person, going out to movies, reading, watching TV shows. I'm a huge like reality TV guy, which is something I love to do. One of my visions is to be on Big Brother or Survivor one day in the future. I think it's something,
Really?
yeah, I really want to do just because I just love, it's just cool, and those are all things that we've talked about before, like that whole just vision of thinking of doing something. It's so important for people out there that are nervous about starting something. I'm pretty sure you were the same with your podcast, and so was I.
Yeah.
When I was like, do I start it now? When do I start it? Should I start it? There's so many out there. But then once you just do it, it doesn't have to be like perfect when you set it up, but just get going. Just like with anything in life, you just have to start moving forward in that direction, and you'll make adjustments. And then as soon as you know it, you're there. And then you look back and be like, man, I'm glad I didn't wait for like the perfect time or the perfect opportunity, because it's really hard to get there. But yeah, short
Oh
introduction.
man,
But
absolutely. I agree with everything you're saying, and I want to kind of tap on 2 points. So a little callback when we first had, can you hear me?
Yep.
When we had our first episode, when I talked to you, I gave you a book recommendation, which was Shoe Dog by
Yeah,
Phil Knight.
amazing book.
And
It's
you,
one of my
and,
it jumped into my top 5 for sure.
oh, definitely. And you say how we are so worried about how do I start, when do I start? My motto is just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Adjust it along the way.
Yeah.
And even when I started my Camo Talk, even when I started this, I had so many things like, why will this work? Will it not work? But like you said, sometimes you just got to do it. You
Yeah.
just got to do it.
I think
And
I think that saying is sometimes not emphasized enough. We know Nike uses it, so it's unfortunate that the saying is so overused because it's so important. Like my wife and I have used that our whole career. Like there's times where we've sat down and talked about things, and she'll tell me, she's like, "Just do it." I'm like, "Yes, duh. Why don't I just do it?"
it's the greatest piece of advice, the
It is.
single greatest piece of advice. My wife tells me that all the time because I'm a huge procrastinator, and I'm honestly I'm a quitter. I can always push people to do other things, but when it comes to me, I start something, never finish. But if my wife has an idea, she just goes ahead and do it right then and there. There's no really thinking about how should I do it, when should I do it. You do it and adjust as you go.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And I want to kind of double back to when you said you pretty much changed your life. What was that just do it moment when you said, I just got to change my life? How was your life looking at that point where you said, I got to shift?
Yeah, so it was in 2021, 2022, where obviously I work for First Form on the side of nutrition. And so my coach was reaching out to me like, "Hey man, like, how's like your team going, and all that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's good, but it was like just average, like I told him, I was like, "Well, I'm in the military." I was making all these excuses. Like, I'm in the military. I can't focus too much on coaching. I'm just trying to stay busy, but I wasn't.
Making excuses.
Yeah,
Making
I just wasn't being good with my time. And at
Yeah.
the time, he was like, this was like April. And then at the time, he was like, "Hey, man, First Form has their Summer Smash coming up. You should come on out, see the facility, meet some of the people." And I was like, okay. And I just bought a ticket on a whim, not knowing what to expect. And for those of you, and I don't know if you follow any of the First Form people, but they are one of the most genuine and hardest working people out there. And I went up there and I was just surrounded by straight up killers, man. Like people that were just they were not making excuses. They were doing hard things. And obviously Andy Frisella, the creator of 75 Hard, is the CEO of First Form. And so I was like, I was like, I can't be here and not change my life. Like I left there, and the next day I got home, I started 75 Hard. And that's where I was like, I was upset with where I was in my life. I wasn't bad, I'm a good husband, I was working hard, but I just wasn't the level I should have been.
You feel average.
Yeah, and so that's why I just dove into 75 Hard, and I hit it hard, like I lost like 45 pounds throughout it. I ended up doing like the rest of the Live Hard program throughout the year. And that's where I dialed in on reading 10 pages every day, drinking water, not drinking alcohol, tracking what I eat, going outside on walks and then rucking, and it led to a lot of other endurance stuff. And then it helped with my habits and my routine and just all this stuff where it's always hard for people when they make a change in their life so late and they think like, man, I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. And so I was upset with like,
it's almost heartbreaking.
it is. I was like, I waited until 35 to start my life. Like, imagine if I was started 20, 25. That's 10 years in advance. But then I always stop myself and I go, stop. Like, you started. Like,
yeah, 100%. And I love First Form. Quick little snippet. First Form was the first pre-workout and protein shake that I've ever used in my life. I used them while I was deployed, and I thought, man, this is the greatest pre-workout I have ever used. I literally feel like it just transformed my body while I was deployed. But as I got back back in country and things like that, I could just not find it anywhere.
yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm like, damn, can I only get it overseas? So I'm doubling back to what you said, because when you went to that First Form convention, was it being surrounded by so many people that you felt like were doing great things, doing amazing things, where you looked at yourself like, man, where am I?
It was basically just like, this is what I needed, And I think the military has lost that aspect of that brotherhood of doing hard things together and challenging each other and, suffering through pain, etc. Where, there are branches that do it good, but it's not all the time. That's what First Form does. They do it all the time in their habits, in their in how they greet people and how they talk to people and how their shop is immaculate. They're always cleaning up after themselves. So it wasn't just like in the military where we do hard things great in PT, right? Like that's the only time of the day where some squadrons or groups will do good things together. But then the rest of the day, they're not doing it together, or they're not doing it great. Their offices are horrible. Their squadrons are dirty. You know, like their jobs are average. But then people will be like, oh, but we get to know each other in the gym. Like that's cool. I'm trying to teach my flyers now. We need to get to know each other and do everything together all the time.
Absolutely.
Like when you're walking around the squadron, you're picking up the garbage. When you're going out to eat, you're inviting a friend. Or it's not just a PT or a roll call, which is we do. It's like 24/7, and that's really hard to do. But it'll make
the way you do one thing should be the way you do everything.
Exactly.
That's how
I think we talked about that on our show. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love how you focused on like this doesn't just need like fitness, as great as it may be, it is a one-dimensional thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like so many people focus on that one thing as their peak and just lose control in everything else. This is why when I spoke about you in my last video, I said you don't just preach fitness, you preach lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like I give the same energy, ambition, intention that I do in the gym as I do with my family, as I do with my friends, as I do with my job. And I think that is such a great point of view to have. Now, with that being said, how you said you did 4 years enlisted and transitioned to officer. What was that transition like, culture-wise? Because it's really two separate different sides of the house, two ways that people walk, two ways that people move. So what was the transition like for that?
Yeah, so, you know, I still, to this day, love being enlisted. I think it was the best part of my career because when you're enlisted, like, that's your job. Your job 24/7 is to do your job. You know, like, I was a survival instructor. That's all I had to focus on was doing my job. But there was, like, this itch to lead, right, to do other things. And the greatest leadership challenge you can do, I think, in the military is commission and become an officer because you lead so much more and you give back so much more. And so at the time I was like 20, you know, I was a 4-year enlistee. I didn't know much about ROTC or OTS, and so it was still fairly new in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
But my wife did ROTC at a college, and she told me about it. And the transition was actually pretty nice because I had a 4-year transition, really, when I was going to college. That's when I was doing ROTC. But when I got in as an officer, I started to see you're not, and obviously as a flyer, you're not leading a lot, you know? And so that's where I had to wait to lead. I was sort of bummed I wasn't leading as much when I became an officer because as a flyer, you're focused on your job again to be good in your jet while you're still managing other people. But my first leadership experience when I was a aircrew flight equipment flight commander of like 36 airmen, that's where I really saw the difference in leading as an officer. Like that was tough. That still is one of my hardest leadership experiences because when I went in there, I used the only tools I had in my toolbox as a leader, and that was it. And it was like be direct. I was still good at getting to know people, but I didn't have a lot of tools in my toolbox as a leader. And so and I wasn't taught that, you know, going through ROTC or these like leadership toolbox kits when you're transitioning, I guess, or commissioning. It's very much how to be a supervisor or manager, not a leader. And so when I was trying to lead these airmen, I was like, this is my way of leadership and you're going to do it this way. And I did that for a little bit and it worked because I think they needed it. But after time, I didn't adjust. And so that's why I always look back at that time and I go, man, I wish I could have done things better. But I still talked to those airmen and they still respected me when I was there because they knew I was learning. They still learned a lot. But that was the biggest shift from enlisted to officer is when you're leading, not managing or supervising, it's not about the job, it's about the people. And I think that's what's really hard to do as an officer or a leader is focus on the people. A lot of leaders think they're being leaders by focusing on the job, which is good, but you're not going to get the best results if you don't focus on the people. And that's what was hard for me when I was younger as a leader. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to change my leadership style based on every single person in the shop, which is huge. Like you've seen it, and I know a lot of leaders out there have seen it. Like when you go into a shop, your leadership has to adjust for every single person in there because they're all led.
You got to be adaptive.
Yeah, and that's what I wasn't doing. But I didn't know. I didn't have like you don't know. So that's what I teach a lot of young leaders now is when you go into a leadership role, understand there's your like philosophy or leadership style that you can go in with to start, but it has to be flexible and it has to be adaptable Because if you just only rely on that, you're not going to be the best leader.
I think that was a great point you made. And something that I harp on a lot is the foundation of leadership. What is your center? What is your well that
Yeah.
you pull from to adjust your leadership style? Considering that you came from both sides of the house and had not only experience on the enlisted side, officer side, and experience through college,
Mm-hmm.
which is a life lesson in itself. If you had to put leadership in 3 words and say these are the pillars of my leadership, what would you say those would be?
Single words. Example.
Yeah. Oh, so with me, when I talk about leadership, I think I consider family.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think
Yeah.
I don't think a person could be a great leader if they're not great within their home.
Mm-hmm.
Another word I would like to use is intention.
Yeah.
Like I have to talk to you and know what I'm trying to lead you to do. I don't want to be a leader that is just a blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
So kind of things like that.
Yeah. I would say relationships, empathy, and grit. Like you have to have relationships, and I say it all the time. Relationships is the key to any foundation out there. So relationships, you have to build relationships. Empathy, because you have to be able to understand what they're going through, and sometimes to do that, you have to share your struggles and just be relatable. And
Right.
then the last one, grit. You just cut out like that. There we go.
Yeah, that was me or you.
I don't know, but I guess we're good still. So.
Yeah, we good. We good now.
And so grit comes in because you have to have that determination and just grit to work hard and do the hard things.
Man, I'm so glad you said grit, and I think you said grit last time. But that is one of those things that I think people forget so much, that serving is doing a lot of the hard stuff a lot of the time. I think, and you spoke on it earlier, that like we reached a point where people no longer want to do the hard stuff. Even with me, right? I've gotten to a point where I feel like the military has gotten easy, or I've gotten comfortable, put myself in
Yeah.
a box where the hard stuff is things that I try to avoid now. So, as a leader, what is that thing that you tell those soldiers when it's like you got to do the hard stuff? Because that's something that you have to push people to do.
Yeah, I tell them like your leaders aren't going to consider you for things if you're just doing the same thing that you're good at. From a
Absolutely.
leadership perspective, like if I'm looking at someone to promote or give an award to, yes, they should be good at their job. That's like the standard, right? So
Yeah.
like when they're like, "Oh, I'm good at my job," I'm like, "Cool, everybody's good at
Well,
their
that's the
job." That
bare
doesn't
minimum. Why
that
would you
doesn't
not be
surprise me.
good at your
Like,
job?
yeah,
Yeah.
what are you doing that's different? And
Mm.
for most people, fitness is a great area to challenge themselves. So if I see that, or if they're like, I'm taking classes, or I'm learning a new language, or I'm volunteering more, all of these are non-standard and just different ways to find that grit.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be if they're volunteering for new duties in their job, right? Or they're stepping up to lead outside of their rank or position. Those are good areas. But you said it, man. Complacency kills.
Absolutely.
In the military, we pride complacency, which is horrible. Like we give credit to complacency, and that's just the way the rank and promotion structure goes. Like
Mm.
it's just been like that forever. If you just do your job, you'll get promoted. So we're basically breeding complacency, and we're not motivating people to challenge themselves. And I
Absolutely.
think that's why it's hard to motivate airmen to do challenging things when they don't have to get promoted or so it's like
I
just like we
agree,
do
and it's
Air
like
Force
why do I
BJJ.
have to do it and they're not doing it?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and
Yeah,
and this goes back to lifelong leadership. I'm not trying to lead you to just be a better soldier. I'm trying to
yeah,
lead you to
yeah.
be an overall better person.
And I think that's what we have to keep enforcing is I'm not
Hmm.
trying to make you a better soldier. I'm trying to make you a better person. People
Yeah,
don't realize the military isn't your life. It could be
absolutely,
4 years,
man.
even if it's 20 years. It's not your life. You're going to
Hmm.
get out and you're going to think like, oh, I made it to this rank. That's great. But where are you now? Like that's what I
Yeah,
try to teach and lead a lot of people is I'm trying to make you a better person. And to make you a better person, I need you to not focus on the job sometimes, focus on yourself.
absolutely.
'Cause that's going to help you just move those stones even further.
That's a great point. And we talk about real life leadership, the soul that you can actually touch. But like I said, you were such a big presence and impression on my life as far as just social media leadership. So how do you feel about that and the reach that that type of leadership can have? Because uh, Meal Talk, whatever you want to call it, does have its good and its bad. What do you feel like is some of the good?
I think just the connections. Like I never would have thought in my whole life within the past 2 years I would one be having a podcast and be having podcasts with people that aren't in my branch. aren't in my local area, and so it's phenomenal. It is.
Mm.
It's like the new way of leadership because some of those people on miltok are on there because they don't have those leaders in their culture, right? Like they're not there.
I
And so
agree.
they use miltok as that leadership or social media as that leadership tool. And like what disservice am I doing to not be on social media, not sharing my leadership if there's like an airman or someone out there that's like they're living off of it to get better because in their workplace it's not there. And unfortunately in a lot it's not. I
Yeah.
would probably say obviously when you look at the social media miltok leaders, there's maybe I don't know. Let's just say there's 1,000 miltok people. There's maybe 10 that are actual leaders. So that small pool
Yeah.
is even smaller in a workplace where maybe in a workplace of 100, you're only gonna have maybe two good leaders, two
Mm.
maybe. And so like that poor airman doesn't have those leadership examples there. And so we are trying to provide that on social media, and so that's why I just think it's obviously it's just easier now. Like it's
Yeah.
easy to share a story, easy to provide leadership, and easy to just build those relationships. Because who knows when we're going to meet people, like and that's what some people may think. Like, oh, I don't want to be on social media because I don't know these people, or it's weird talking to people I don't know, or if I'll never see them. And it's like, I think you'll be surprised. Like I'm pretty sure we will run into each other later in our career because of social
It's
media.
so small. It's so small.
It's
Even
very small.
as many times as people just come up to me and like, oh man, I love your videos and blase blase. It's like, and I've never thought, well, I never thought that I would reach the point that I have now. But it's like
Yeah.
seeing people in real life come to you and saying, man, I love your videos, blase blase. And now just that small aspect of it just makes me want to be better. Because it's one thing to present myself on social media. It's a whole other thing to be seen in real life and people can
Yeah.
say, well, you're not who you say you are.
I mean,
So and I think that's one of the worst pieces for me is when it comes to social media and media talk, there are so many false leaders.
there are.
It's easy to be a leader on the internet when there's no confrontation, no
Yeah.
pushback. It's easy to say what you will and you won't do. That is why I'm so focused on transparency and honesty. I do say the things that make me look bad. I do say the things that aren't very leader like because I want that true leadership. I want to be corrected. Even though I'm an E7, I want that leader to look at me and say, hey, this wasn't right. Let's do this a little different. Because I'm still learning myself. I want soldiers to realize that serving and just being a human being is a lifelong course. You can always learn from everybody. So I think you give and like you said, it's so many leaders, but it's so few true leaders. And I love that like somebody the other day told me you don't cater to the audience that you have, you cater to the audience that you want when
Oh
it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
to social media. And that's one of the things that I truly feel like you do. You truly, no matter, you never get caught up in the minutia, you never get trapped by the negativity. You have been consistent since the moment that me and you cross paths. Like, and it's so easy for me to fall short and get caught up in the bullshit, right? How do you maintain this level of consistency when it does come to being positive and still being able to push out consistent information and advice?
Yeah, that's hard. And I tell people it is not easy. Like
Mm.
everybody always asks me, like, how do you work out twice a day? How do you do this with your family? How do you continue to fly? And I go, dude, it's not easy. Like if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be on social media. Everybody would be working out twice a day. Everybody would be living a great life. But it's hard.
Mm.
But that's why I share. Like I share the workouts, the family stuff, the flying, the journeys, whatever. Because some people just need to see it, right, to
Yeah.
believe it, which is fine. And that's why, you know, I tell myself and a lot of people that are starting a journey, you should always start it for yourself because then it's going to transition for them. And that's where I'm
Mm.
at in my career and my leadership is it's for them now. Like I've been doing this for 5 years for myself, but now I like focus on everything for them. And somebody told me at the podcast, it was like the first 50 episodes are for you, everything else is for them after that. So that's how I gear
Mm.
a lot of what I do. Like when I started exercising, right? The first 75 days, 75 hard were for me. After that, my family was bought in, my friends were bought in, so now I do it for them. Same as social media. Like I started doing social media sort of for myself, right? To build my platform, build my niche. And now that I do, it's all for them.
Mm.
But the consistency is really hard. Uh, but I'm not saying I'm consistent all the time. Like I was in Vegas last week. I missed, a couple posts here and there. I didn't track my food. I didn't reach out to my clients as much, but they knew it. But the good thing when you live a life like this, you bounce back pretty quick. And that's what I try to tell a
No.
lot of people as well. Like, don't think you have to do it every day, because if you fail, that's fine. Just come back the next day,
Mm.
and just start over again. And so that's also the fun part too. When you're really consistent and you have a break, you sort of be like, hey, I get to come back even harder now. Like I
That's
came
true.
back this morning, I made my post, I did my workout with my team. I got to edit a podcast, and I get back consistency, and it sort of lights that fire again. But being consistent is hard, and that's what I try to tell people right up front. Like, dude, if you want to see good results, if you want to build a platform, if you want to do this, like, you got to give yourself like 3 to 5 years. And it's when you tell people that, people are like, oh, I'm good. No,
But
thank you. I'm like,
like
well,
we said last time, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 5 years
yeah,
because everybody want it so fast. And I think a lot of just us as humans, and especially as soldiers, we always have this fear of failing. And I
yeah,
try to explain to people like failure is where you adjust. Like
yeah,
failure is just part of the journey. It's nothing you can avoid. It's nothing you can dodge because you don't know it all. And so many people just completely avoid doing the hard stuff in general because of that fear of failure. So I think that's one of those things that I love to try to harp on soldiers where it's like, just do it. And if you fail, adjust and move forward. It will always get right. So, and I feel like that's one of those necessary attributes of being a leader, like not being scared to fail. Now, what do you feel like are some necessary attributes for leaders?
I think that's one of the main ones is
Mm,
being able to fail and continue.
mm.
Once you once you understand that you're gonna fail, the fear of failure is sort of gone, right? And that's what I tell
Yeah,
a lot of people is, hey, don't be afraid to fail, because one, nobody's gonna care. Like, everybody always
yeah,
thinks like you're gonna get fired, or like your social media is gonna get shut down if you have a bad video, or
yeah.
like if you try a new job and you fail, like you're gonna be scarred for life. Nobody cares. Like the next day, nobody's gonna care that you failed. And so like once you realize that, you're like, oh, so taking these risks isn't that bad. It's just gonna help me if I do it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some of the other key attributes of a leader, what you're asking is, I think just being open with your struggles as well. That's one I think a
Mm.
lot of leaders don't do, because they have to try to think they portray like a great life, right? Like they
Yeah.
never failed, or they're
I'm the
never,
superhero. I do
yeah.
everything the right way.
And so
Mm-hmm.
that's really hard for new leaders to understand. Is
Mm-hmm.
most people don't want to see your wins; they want to see your losses, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell a lot of young leaders when they're trying to figure out how to get to know like their airmen, or build relationships, or build that camaraderie in their team. I'm like, tell them what you failed at. Tell them what
Yes.
you're struggling with. Don't tell them what you're good at or what you're successful at, because they're not going to care. One, they're thinking, if you're an officer, they think that's what your life is. Like a lot of people think like the officer life is like very Manila and chill and like it's
Mm.
easy, right? Or we got here because of all this success. It's usually we got here just because of grit and determination and failing.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly.
there's that aspect of it. So that's what I tell a lot of people. Some people may be like, well, I've never, and I've had people on my show that even myself have never struggled a lot growing up. So
Mm.
they think like, well, how do I share that? Well, just share that you've had this type of life, and maybe obviously it's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
Um,
People will always
so
figure out what your
yeah,
upbringing was. I
that's
think
probably
it's
one of the
that.
good attributes.
Yeah, I think it's like it's that sense of relatability that you said. People want to know that you are more alike than you are different.
Yeah,
And as that E7, as that officer, those young soldiers look at you and think that you have such a different life to them.
yeah, it's
Oh, you don't
crazy.
understand what I'm going through. You don't want to know anything. But they so often forget that we were in that same place at one point. But I do think I would love for the military to reach this place of not being so separated amongst the ranks. Like I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
senior leaders separate themselves so much from the junior soldiers, and it's always that bridge of communication that isn't there. So, the typical question to ask on a podcast is, what is some advice you would give to junior leaders, right? But my question to you is, what is some advice you would give to a senior leader, that person that you feel like is already established, already been through the thing, but that one piece of information that they can still learn from?
I think it'd be go build more relationships. Like, don't
Mm,
think, because a lot of senior leaders and officers think they don't need to have relationships with those below them because they're above them. So they think
absolutely.
like, this is just what the military teaches, right? Is that
Yep.
rank has structure and power. So there's a lot of senior leaders and officers that don't think they need to have relationships to be a good leader because they're in a leadership position, which is wrong. I look at the exact opposite. Like, I don't care about my position. I don't care about anybody's position. Like, I
Yeah.
have senior airmen come work out with me. I have an Army E7 come work out with me. Like, and when we work out, we are not in like leadership roles, like,
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people probably look at my social media and look at who my friends are, and they may think like their officer, like, why are you always working out with these airmen, or like, I don't know, like, why? I'm just like,
Why not? You know what I'm
they're
saying?
they have pretty relatable relationships to me outside of the
Yeah.
military. We grew up the same. We understand what makes us better. Once senior leaders know that we're all human and relationships will thrive in a workplace, there's less focus on fraternization or that, which is I think what most people are scared about in those roles.
Yeah.
A lot of senior leaders are nervous about becoming friends with those below them because they've either been accused of it before or they think that person's going to abuse the power, which they won't if you have a good relationship.
Yeah.
I've never had out of these thousands of airmen I know abuse their relationship with me like in the
Yeah.
workplace. Like I've
Yeah.
never had one come into my office and be like, "What's up, Manny? I know we're friends on TikTok. I need you to do this for me." It's like, no, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Nah, it doesn't work like
They
that.
still respect me. They still understand the
Yeah.
role of the military. If anything, it's better than
Yeah.
if we weren't friends. Like I think that's the one thing we need to bridge as senior leaders is get rid of the uniform. Just like
Yeah.
talk to your people as if they are your team. Like you're
Yeah.
your team. On a team, the quarterback doesn't think himself more highly than the running back or the lineman. They all know they work together as
Right.
a team. There may be positions that do more, which is fine, but when you understand you're all working to the same goal,
Yeah.
you all got to get there eventually.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And that goes back to like soldiers having this fear of higher leadership. Cause like
Yeah.
it's one thing for them to see it. Cause I remember growing up and I was an E4, E5, and everybody would be like, oh, the colonel's coming, and everybody just running for the hills. And it's like, why is this the case? You know what I'm saying? But those E6s, those E7s, they say the same thing. Oh, the colonel's coming. Let me get out of the
Yeah.
way. No, nobody wants to be around the colonel. I'm thinking like, what is so scary about this person? And it's nothing. Everybody just have a fear of authority. Oh, if I say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing, people are gonna I'm gonna get in trouble and things like that. But I always tell people, even though intention doesn't negate the impact, if you know you aren't doing anything wrong, it's okay to be within those situations, be
Mhm.
within those environments. Like I would hate to be in a unit and never meet the brigade commander,
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
meet the division. You know what I'm saying? So I tell soldiers like put your face in a place. Don't run from the people
Yeah.
that can possibly help you one day. And you never know if they might come to you and say, "Hey, I need something." So I just think us as leaders, like you said, take off the uniform. See me as a human before anything, because at the end of the day, that's what we all going to go back to. The uniform comes
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
And I think
I
it's
think you
funny
made a great point.
when we were all in that position of running from that colonel like actually wants to get to know us. Like
Yeah,
so when you flip the script and you think you're running from the colonel, like think of what position he's in, right? He
yeah,
is coming to your shop to get to know you because everybody keeps running from him. So
yeah,
like, and I see
exactly.
that
And
now, as I continue my career in the military, like I've definitely seen that where people may think like, oh, Manny's coming by, like
mm,
like they may go pretend they're busy or something like that. But now I've seen it on both ends. Like when I was an airman, and they said the boss coming by and like, oh, let me go pretend like I'm typing up an email or doing
yeah,
chores, But in
let me put my eyes
hindsight,
on the screen.
yeah, in
Yeah,
hindsight, they're coming down to get to know you, and
yeah.
even if you're not doing anything, just take that time to say hi, and on both sides.
And I think I had me a great start of my AGL career, just my active career and whatnot. Cause my first duty station was a combat support hospital, so it's colonels and lieutenant colonels just walking around every day. And once you really get to see that, they are no different than us. They joke around, they run around, they do all these things. That's when I'm like, oh man, these guys are just extremely normal. But when you don't see that often, you put them on such a high pedestal that you think you can achieve. You can possibly become them one day. That's what I tell
Mhm.
Soda. Like, don't put a cap on yourself by thinking that this person is so high. That makes it feel impossible. No, if you keep going and doing the right things, you could very well be that person. I really try to harp on soldiers to like have the vision to see the things that you might feel are impossible.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
having to tell soldiers that, man, it really opens up their eyes and makes them realize, like, really, man, I can't put this cap on me. Have you ever experienced that moment where you felt like, oh man, it's nothing higher than this?
I think like the old Manny definitely did, where I was like
Mm,
going through my training and there was times where I was like, cool, I know as much as I can about the B1 right now where I'm at, I'm good.
mm,
Or like, hey, I've lifted this much, I'm good. Or I've done this amount of work today, I'm good for the day. So there was back then where I was always thinking I was at a cap and then I'd stop.
mm.
Like I thought I was at the top and I would stop and be like, cool, I made it, like I can go relax now. But now it's like the exact opposite. I get to somewhere where I think I'm achieving it, but I'm always like, well, what's next? Like
Yeah.
what's on the next hill? What's on the next hill? And I think
Mm,
that's where a lot of people fail is they either make a skill level, right? Like in the Air Force, we have enlist side, we have like skill levels. You have to achieve a 5 level, 3 level throughout your job,
mm.
and then maybe like, oh, I hit that achievement, I'm good. So they sort of like they get complacent, right? And they relax because they're good at that one job. But they don't understand like to get better, you still need to be good at that job. You need to do more.
Yeah, yeah. Add on
Just being
to it.
good at your job at all the time isn't going to make you a successful person. It's not going to make you better. You need to do more. And so that's where I'm at now. Now, like whenever I feel like I hit a PR on a run, or I don't know, I did good at this job, it's always like, what's next?
Yeah,
What's the next level?
I agree with that. I think you made a great point, man. I think we covered some great topics, man. We really touched every topic that I did. So I think we're gonna close this out. But before we go, man, what is one thing you just want to tell the people? It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be military. It doesn't have to be anything. That one bit of advice, or just whatever. You can give a shout out, anything you want. The floor is yours.
Man, first I just want to say thanks for having me on your show.
Mm,
And I just love our conversations. We have so much of them. It's just like just a normal talk.
yeah.
But the one thing I just love to tell people is um, there's just a lot more we can do.
Mm,
So if you're either listening to the show or you think you're in a good spot at work or you think you're like at your peak, like there's something else to push you further.
mm,
That and then like go get to know somebody. That is huge. Like it doesn't have to be in the workplace. Like I try to do a lot of when I go to a grocery store, I get to know the cashier, right? Or if I go to a serving place, I get to know the server. Like that's one challenge I challenge a lot of people is and outside your daily work, go get to know somebody else
mm.
because that'll go a long way as well.
Absolutely. I think that's that great advice, man. Like once again, thank you so much for taking this invite, being on this podcast with me, man. Like you said, it's just a conversation. I know we'll have plenty more of them. I think you touched on some great points. I think we had a great conversation, man. I just want you to go out there, keep being great, keep being Manny. You know what I'm saying? Don't, because I can always come back to you and remember where it all started. So thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Say hi to the family for me. Enjoy the rest of your day,
Well,
man.
do until we
All
meet
right.
up.
Always.